Growing up, many Asian families avoided talking about spirits. They believe speaking about them give them power. But silence doesn't stop what moves in the dark. The three stories you're about to hear come from different women who grew up in California. Each one carry these memories quietly, moments they still can't explain. A mysterious woman who appeared only in the darkness. A man in flip-flops who walked into their room at night to only disappear. And a sister who used rituals she didn't understand, waking something she can't control, for love. These moments shaped them before they even knew what fear was. And now for the first time, they're sharing what happened. I was 13. I lived with my older sister, a single mom. We share a tiny house with only one bedroom. Her baby, my niece, slept with us. My sister worked multiple jobs, so most nights I cared for my baby niece. One night, around 3 a.m., my niece started crying hard. My sister had just come home from work. Exhausted and asleep, she asked me to refill the baby's bottle. Half asleep, I grabbed my iPod for light and walked toward the kitchen. My dad and stepmom were visiting and were sleeping in the living room. I didn't want to wake them, so I kept the light off and walked quietly past their makeshift bed. As the dim iPod light spread across the room, I froze. A woman stood on the floor next to my dad's bed. It was not my stepmom. She was sleeping next to him. This woman wore a long black dress. Her hair hung down, messy and tangled. She didn't move. She stared directly at my dad, not blinking, not breathing, just watching him. Suddenly, my chest tightened. Instinct kicked in. I flipped on the light. The woman vanished instantly. There was nothing there. Terrified, but I switched the light back off so my dad wouldn't wake up. I quickly grabbed the bottle and ran back into our bedroom. I closed the door behind me, and before I can even move, my sister shouted, "Stop holding her like that. You're heavy. She can't breathe." But it wasn't me near the bed. I was still standing at the door. I looked at the bed. That same woman in the black dress was now leaning over my knees. That's when I screamed, and the whole house woke up. When things calmed down, and I explained to everybody what I saw, no one believed me. They said I was tired, and I was imagining things. That night, I couldn't sleep anymore, so I stayed up for the rest of the night. But deep down inside, I knew who she might have been. Back in the old country, my dad had been married several times. Some of his wives were said to have taken their own lives because of his affairs. Relatives whisper that their spirits follow him, not just to hunt him, but to stay near him, to watch him forever. When I was little, my family moved into a rental home in Sacramento. We were a big family, and there's not enough space. So my two brothers and I share a bedroom together. That very night, when we moved in, and afterward, we always heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, like someone was walking in flip-flops. But when we looked, no one was there. This was freaking us out. Sometimes, a tall shadow stood beside our beds, never moving, never talking, just watching us. As soon as we seen it, we would scream for our parents and cry. It would then fade away before our parent can get into the room. At first, we told our parents everything what we saw and what we heard, but they often laugh or brush it off as if it's our kids' imagination. But one day, my dad found one of our kitchen knives under my youngest brother's pillow. When asked why, My little brother looked terrified and said, "I'm scared, and I want to cut the man that comes to look at me every night, so he'll go away." Even after that, our parents still didn't believe us. After a while, we stopped telling them everything because it was useless. Eventually, we got used to the footsteps, used to the flip-flop sounds coming to our bedrooms at night, used to the shadow, used to the feeling of someone heavy breathing in the darkness next to us. As kids, we thought that this was normal. Now, as an adult, I know it wasn't. No child should adapt to this, but somehow, we did. My older sister was beautiful, innocent, and a bit naive. She believed her first boyfriend was the love of her life. When he kept breaking her heart, she turned to things she called love magic. Looking back, they're actually dark magic and rituals and things that she should have stayed away from, like spells. Objects she said she could keep him from leaving her forever. Just when the relationship felt good again, he left her. He moved to another state. No more calls, no more messages, no more mails. That's when she changed. At night, I heard her laughing and crying at the same time from her room. Not the same voice that I used to hear from her. No longer a human sound, but something twisted, broken, and dark. I love her, but she didn't seem like herself anymore. She kept a small jar under her bed. She said it had their hair to keep them connected. I didn't think much of it until one night. Our parents were out of town, so I went to sleep in her room. I was half asleep when I felt something crawling on my shoulder. Slow, wet, cold, and it's everywhere. I turned on my phone light. There were maggots everywhere, around me and on her. I screamed. My sister looked at me calmly and whispered, "Pick them up. We'll sleep on the floor." Like she expected it, like this was normal. Later that night, she started crying and laughing again in her sleep, but the voice that came out wasn't hers, and whatever crawled out of that jar wasn't love. It was something darker, something she couldn't control. Her boyfriend never came back, and she fell deeper into rituals until I barely can't recognize her anymore. Some people say ghosts only linger in old houses or abandoned places, or far away in the old countries where our families came from. But these three stories, from three different women, in three different homes, all have one thing in common. The haunting didn't care who they were, it didn't care where they lived, and it didn't stop when the lights came on. A woman in black dress who appeared only in the dark. A man in flip-flops who watched children while they slept. A jar meant for love that opened the door to something else. Different stories, different lives, same truth. Some things follow us, some things find us, and some things wait quietly until we're old enough to understand what we saw. If you grew up in an Asian household, you know we don't talk about things like this. We bury them. We pretend they never happened. But the family who lived these moments, they never forgot. And if these are the stories they carry in silence for years, imagine the ones they're still afraid to tell.